We got to be careful of knowing when somebody's getting to know us or when they're prying on us. By the time the police decide they wanted to get there, I done already defended myself and got thrown out of a window. Let me tell you, whoever watching will be watching. When somebody is so far gone mentally, they don't care about your life. I was in front of the window. So now you push me out this window, talking about I'll drop you out, this and all that. And I'm like, well, do what you got to do. And I fell on top of a trash bin, the green trash dumpsters. Homegirl set my car on fire right in front of my eyes. Flames. When people are that type of broken or that type of far gone mentally, people will always hide it until you trigger them. Make somebody live in their reality, that's their biggest trigger. They got to live up to every lie they told, and they can't.
What's up, beautiful people? It's your favorite light, MB. Welcome to another episode of the Conf1dence Way podcast, where we are shining light on the darkness that is domestic violence and abuse. We got 3 goals: educate, empower, and encourage. We want to educate anyone who does not understand the complexities of domestic violence and abusive relationships and what they can actually look like. We want to empower anyone who is a survivor to share your story without shame or guilt. And we are here to encourage anyone who is currently suffering in silence. Listen, you are not alone. You are not crazy. Abuse is not normal, and your feelings are valid. So let's get ready to rise above these insecurities, release the burdens of shame and guilt, and revive the God-given power, purpose, and passion the Conf1dence Way, because we about to light it up. You guys know what it is. It's a new episode of the Conf1dence Way podcast, and today we got the poet, we have the author, we have the speaker, we have the all things wonderful artist, Miss Treva in the building. Pew, 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 pew.
Hey,
Treva,
hello.
how you doing, sis?
I am great. I am well. How are you?
It's a great day to be alive.
It is. I won't complain. I won't complain at all.
And it ain't gonna do no good.
It won't.
Woo! So let me tell y'all buckle up, okay? Because word on the street is this is about to be a bumpy ride. Seatbelts on. If you need to put your overhead straps and I don't know if we need a chin guard, a mouth guard, or what. But we about to dive. We just gonna go right in. Okay, so my first question, Treva, for you is this: how many abusive relationships have you been in?
If I'm being very honest and transparent, 3.
3.
Yep.
How old were you when it first started?
I was 18, 19. Yep.
Was this your first?
It's so crazy because actually I am a part of the LGBTQIA family. And so my abusers were women. And it was crazy. I mean, some of us, we think we're going through the most horrific storm, story, movie. And then we call ourselves trying to heal after we get out of it or get away from it. Make sure we're not running into the same thing. And to be honest, when I did navigate after healing or what I thought was healing and moved on, they were consecutive. So I was like, wait a minute, this can't be. I know women talk about, abuse with men quite often. And I'm like, this can't be. Like, this can't be. And so, so the first few years of my 20s, I was in unhealthy, unsafe, life-threatening relationships with women.
Now, was this your when you turned 18, was this your very first relationship?
When we're in high school, we all have that somebody we're dating or seeing, and then that may go away or that may be divided when you go to college and things like that. It wasn't my very first relationship, but it was very unfortunate because in our community, we don't talk about that. People think, oh, when two women or two men or whatever they do get together, it's so happy go lucky. And I'm just like, this is worse than what people be talking about with the guys. Like, I can't believe it, you know? And so it was my first abusive relationship. It was not great at all. I almost lost my life. I'm grateful to be here. And once I healed, got out of that, I healed. I tried to make sure that I didn't, follow the same pattern or be attracted to the same thing. But if we're being very honest and transparent, a lot of people are introduced to domestic violence in the home. And once I finally got to like my late 20s, I was like, you know what? I need some therapy. I need some help because something is not right. I don't want to die. And this is not safe for me. So yeah, my first few years were not healthy. Dealing with women in my early adulthood. Not healthy at all. And some of us fight back, some of us get out, some of us don't make it out, but it probably was the most horrific stuff I've ever been through.
So we got to address something that you just said. You said that it's not talked about a lot, but a lot of times it's experienced in the home first. So when you said that, did you yourself have experience or witness or be around domestic violence or abuse when you were growing up as a child before you got into a relationship?
Again, most of the time in the homes, we see, the arguing, we see the fighting, or we see the male doing most of the damage and being taken out of the home and things like that. In my household, it was the opposite. Um, my mom was, aggressive. My mom was the abuser. And I'm not saying my father was a perfect patty. What I'm saying is that whatever part he played, we didn't see it. We didn't see my father hitting my dad. We didn't see my father cursing her out. I mean, hitting my mom, cursing her out, or anything like that. My mom was the abuser. My mom was aggressive, and things like that. And I think I became attracted to the wrong thing, to the wrong normality. A lot of women in my family were aggressive, single moms, going through the motions. I probably wouldn't know all of their answers or issues, but I come from a background where the women were aggressive. And I think that I grew up being attracted to the wrong thing.
That's very heavy. That's very enlightening too, because people don't, I don't think a lot of people grasp the severity of being exposed at such an early age. I mean, we think about when a kid is young, how they absorb everything education wise or what they see on TV. But I think a lot of times we opt to leave out how the adults' actions and interactions with one another truly influence a kid's behavior, a kid's choices, and what a kid calls normal. And so if you're coming up in a home where your normal is disruption all the time, what are you expected to know if that's all you know? Because the
Yeah.
home is where you're supposed to be taught first, right? Then you get sent to school to learn other things. It's going to take adults taking responsibility. It's either going to be, in your case, you become the person who was abused, or in other people's cases, the child becomes the abusive person in whatever relationship or dynamic they get themselves into in the later future.
All of that is correct. And in adulthood, it takes a lot of awareness and accountability to say, hey, I don't want to be like this anymore, or I don't want this for myself, or whatever that may look like for the victim, the survivor, the person that's trying to heal. It takes a person to say, hey, this is not healthy for me. And so in my late 20s, that's when I broke down and started therapy. I think I've told you before, I am a mental health advocate here in Wisconsin. I'm a poet, author. All of what I do, well, almost all of what I do is around the stigma on mental health, finding resources, getting help, finding your way out of those situations and those relationships. Now, everybody is different. However, we do have the capability and resources to help us get out of them if we really want to.
I fully agree with that, because a part of us, we stay in situations. In my case, I knew I didn't deserve it. I knew I didn't want it, but I stayed because I was allowing so many outside factors to dictate what my decisions were going to be. And that was simply because I was making decisions from an insecure place anyways. Like, if we have more confidence in who we are, who we're created to be, and the value that we have, I believe that the decisions that we make in life are far better than what they are if we're making them from an insecure place.
That is very true. I mean, and we get that saying from our parents, oh, I want you to be better than I was. I want you to grow up and have better. And you get all these things instilled into you because your first teachers are your parents or whomever your guardians are, that main household, as well as your siblings. And so, and all the time, the abuse may not be from parent to parent. It may be from parent to child. If it's a single household, a single parent household, I've seen the abuse, and this is not to throw shade at my mother at all. I am a realist. I respect her. I love her to death. But we are in a time where if we're not breaking generational curses, the world is going to feel like it's coming to an end. And so I knew at a very young age, I went through a lot of trauma. I actually thank my trauma because it's done turned me into who I am. It's done healed me into who I am. But I've seen the trauma not only to my father, but to my brothers, the neglect. And so I'm the only girl and I'm the youngest. And so I saw a lot, but I didn't understand a lot. I just knew that this is not, it's when you're away from it, I'm a different kid or I feel safer. And so we're taught to not talk about these things. You go to school, you get good grades. If you don't, you get a whooping, in certain households or, colored households. And so nobody knows what you go home to just because you get straight A's. Nobody knows what your discipline looks like just because you get straight A's. Like I said, I saw a lot of the abuse from my mom, and I never really knew where that rooted from her. But now that as I've been in therapy and I look back, a lot of the women in my family were that way. And it took for me to say at 27, I don't want to be this way. It causes me too much stress, too much health issues, things like that. And I had to realize that I had a not intentionally attracted to trauma or broken people. I had the impact in me wanted to help people. I always saw the potential. And so if I see the potential, let me see if I can help you get there. But that's right up the wrong person's alley. That's all they want you to do. Help me get there. And then when you get into a situation, date, a relationship, you realize this person isn't what they said, or their goals aren't what they said, or when you start, they like everything about you until you have to be that same exact person to them. Oh, she's smart. Oh, she's educated. Oh, she has a backbone, blah, blah, blah. But when you have to stand 10 toes down to somebody or use your no or say, why do you need this? That's where the aggression comes out. The minute you say no and you stop giving or providing or whatever, it's a small or major need. When you stop feeding their habit, the aggression comes out. When you think you've gotten over that or you've healed through that and you run into somebody else, it's a reason why people play this questionnaire game. It's a whole reason. And it's not always a bad thing. But sometimes if we don't see the same exact pattern, it looks different. And if it feels good, oh, it feels different. So we try not to project our past, whereas we should be taking a little bit more time just to see. And so that is how I realized that is how I kept getting into the wrong relationships. Like that pattern didn't look the same, but it was something that drew me in. And then when I realized, oh, here's a red flag, well, finding excuses, finding reasoning, trying to figure out what's wrong with them. That ain't my problem. I'm going to school. Like, I'm not going to school for psychology. You get what I'm saying? And so that has always been me. What's wrong with them? I wonder why. Do you think they wondering why about you? They wondering when and what
And how?
and how, not why, not why. And we don't talk about it enough. I'm not a big fan of stereotypes. I try my best to stay away from it. We don't talk about the female abusers, whether it's emotional, verbal. We don't talk about it. Whether they heterosexual or homosexual, we don't talk about it. Um, and I'm not throwing them under the bus, but everybody is capable of doing wrong to people, depending on what your roots look like, what they feel like, where you are in your life, or if you're triggered. And so for me, like I said, it was different for me, but it came from women. I seen it in women. I'll be honest, I've never been through abusive relationship in my current life dating men, but my abuse came from women.
Before we even get into relationship number one, and you did say you're not quite sure, but I just want to ask anyhow. You saw it from your mom and other women, so I'm guessing your aunts, maybe your grandmother. Did you know your maternal grandfather?
No, no, I did not. And as I got older, probably around the time I got into therapy, I started to discover some roots that were not, I mean, they weren't great at all. My mom comes from a single parent household. It's five of them, but none of them had relationships with you know, their dads, their fathers, and things like that. And it's been a cycle that's been trickling down. In most homes of minorities and colored people, you don't talk about it. You just, as a parent, as a mom or a grandma, you do what you have to do for your family. And whatever that mean or meant 20 plus years ago, that's what the women had to do, which obviously brought stress, trauma. But back then, mental health was not a conversation. You barely could cry. And so, you wouldn't, it's rare that you would catch a woman crying because she's trying to keep the pieces of the puzzle together. So when she lash out, the only people to lash out on is whatever grandkids or kids are in the home. When she's throwing things, the only people to take it out on are the people that are around her, even though the trauma is caused by somebody else. And you know, when you allow people to treat you a certain way, or you're accustomed to being mistreated, you don't have the desire to learn anything different if the environment is not changed, if you haven't made changes, if the cycle of your life is the same, then you don't have the desire, the mindset, or a moment to think about what could the opposite be like. And it'll be so foreign, they probably scared to experience it. And so, yeah, my grandma, my aunts, they were all very similar. And it's not to throw shade. I mean, me and my oldest cousin, we talk about things now, and she's in her 50s and I'm in my 30s. And I'm just like, nobody knew these things. Like, you know, it's just like the conversations we have now is like, wow. Because back then, the mother of the house had to fake it till she make it. On top of deal with whatever economical and societal issues was going on at that time. So we didn't see, the only male figures we saw were like our uncles, or our cousins. But as far as grandfathers, no.
Have you ever had any conversations with your brothers or any of your uncles or your male cousins about what you've experienced in the home and what their upbringings have been?
We came up in a household with two parents for a while. Um, Due to the trauma and other things, our home was destroyed very early. So it was three of us, but we all went three separate directions in life. We lived in the same household, and you would have thought like we lived completely three different lives. And so as a child, if it wasn't loud cursing or hidden, I didn't understand neglect. I didn't know what it was. I had a brother that went to prison for a long time. I have a brother who, for a long time, you would have thought he was the kid that just minded his own business. Well, now we're in our 30s and our 40s. We talk about trauma. We talk about healing. We talk about why he tried to commit suicide. We talk about all these things that society said you better not talk about. So, yeah, we have crucial conversations and well needed conversations for the fact that we are rekindling our relationships with one another amongst the three of us, and talking to them and them explaining to me what neglect was or what it looked like for them. I sit and think about it, I'm like, oh, as a little girl, I wouldn't have thought that. I wouldn't have considered that. You get what I'm saying? And so the neglect was quiet for them. It was quiet. It was mom not being present for them. It was dad working too much. It was different for them. The abuse was different for them. And so, as we grew into teenagers in high school, we all went down completely different paths. Completely. And so now, like I said, I'm the baby. Now, yeah, we have to have these conversations because all of us are on different journeys, different spaces, different areas of our healing journey. And it don't look the same for everybody. Sometimes, not all, but most cases, men, they take a lot longer to say, hey, I need help. Because society says that men can't be vulnerable. So they already have to take more than enough time, more than enough trust to find a safe space. So again, my abuse was different. And it breaks my heart to know what that was like for my brothers. But we're all grateful that we're here to be able to have conversations about it, and to see the change in one another post therapy years. I'm not talking about a year of therapy or 2 years of therapy. I'm talking about like almost a decade of therapy. We can truly say, yeah, we're not the same people. Sometimes we look at each other and say, is that my brother? Is that my sister? Because of the change, because of the growth, because of the healing.
You mentioned abuse in the household, and you mentioned witnessing your mother, how she would treat your father. But did that ever, and you mentioned how it was coming to your brothers. You said you didn't really get any of that from her. Did you get any kind?
Well, I did, but it was covered up. We all got whoopings. We all got, well, society would say it's like beatings, like it was, we got used to it. It's not the best way to teach people things, but our parents could only teach us what they knew. And if fear was all that was beaten into them for them to act right, do right, and all of that, then that's all that our parents had. If standing in the corner with a book on your head wasn't enough, or you had to yell and scream and cuss and threaten us for us to do right, then what do you expect when the child has time to think about other things, being a normal kid, making mistakes? Like, we grew up in a household where our parents, they were strict. We had some lenience, but we grew up almost like perfectionists. So what do you expect when your kids go to school? They better not misbehave. They better not be a kid. They better get 4.0s, 3.8s, or else. So when you have kids that's trying to have a normal mindset, of course they're going to think about what do other 8 and 9 year olds do. Well, if I make this mistake, oh, it's over for us, you know. And so, yeah, I got the abuse, I got the physical abuse, I got the emotional abuse, and then later on in life, we found out that we don't all have like the exact same DNA. It was just like challenging, but my brothers were like, you know, suck it up. We boys, we ain't got no choice but to deal with it. It doesn't bother us. Um, I was raised a little rough too. Suck it up, and you better not talk about it. You better not tell nobody the secrets. Those secrets better not ever come out. Which is actually what pushed me into poetry at a young age because I had to get it out. I was the
And
kid who chat too much. So of course, when it's on my report card, I'm getting busted in my mouth or popped in my mouth. And what was a pop to my mom was like a fist punch to me. You get what I'm saying? Because our families have so much anger built up in them. Sometimes people don't even know their own strength. We don't know what mama was really going through. We know what mama putting us through, but we don't know what brought mama to this or what brought nanny to this. And so when we leave home and we go to grandma house and cousin house, you would think we getting a break, but it's the exact same thing.
so let's pivot for a minute. Let's pivot, but we're still growing up. We're still in grade school. And I know that you had this pressure to be a perfectionist and come home, act right while you're there, and not be a kid. But how would you describe your level of confidence when you were at school or when you were away from the house? Were you a social butterfly or were you strictly, I got to stay in line, no playing, no nothing?
I would say as a kid, I had the perfect balance. I was a social butterfly and I was the loud kid, but I was screaming for help. So what looked like outburst, or I was a smart kid who was impatient with the other kids. I was overconfident, I think. And it was because of the way that confidence was instilled in me. And it didn't feel good as a kid. Because although I got good grades, I was the smart kid. It was something about this kid that the other kids didn't like. And it was because I was mean. I was impatient. I didn't understand what being a kid was. If a kid did something that a kid do, I would say things like, that's stupid. Why would you do that? You get what I'm saying? I was mean and I didn't know that I was mean. I played with the other kids, but some kids didn't want to play with me. Because I didn't understand really how to be a kid. It was like being a grown up. When we did our homework, we'll be at home and you know, your kids got a few minutes to eat or a certain time to eat. Like we had a certain time for everything. Your homework, it better be legible. If it's not legible, we're erasing till holes are in the paper, till your eraser is gone. You might be up all night until it's right. At that time, it was what the parents were doing to keep us in check. Not just my parents, but it wasn't the best way to do it. And so obviously we're going to bed with stress on us, making sure we stay in line. Because if we get told we were out of line, I don't even know what it's going to look like when I get home. Don't call my mom. I'll do whatever I need to do. Don't call her. So we couldn't make normal kid mistakes. I was the serious kid all the time.
So when you graduated from high school, did you go to a college where you were still staying at home or were you able to live on campus or live in an apartment or something?
I actually wasn't going to go to college. All that building these and creating these perfectionists, we all rebelled in different ways. My parents are deceased. I lost my dad in high school. And I started to realize that, hey, I have other priorities and school is not it. Because when families are separated, torn apart for whatever reasons, sometimes the kid or the teen has to be an adult. They have to get a job. They have to take care of themselves. They have to do all these different things instead of going to school, playing sports, earning a scholarship, things like that. And I said, you know what? I'm going to take a small little break. I'm not going to go to college because, for one, I don't even know what I have an interest in. At 18, I don't even know what I have a passion for because we didn't get to be a kid and dream. I stayed local. I finished that, got right into my career path. So I still had no time to breathe. I still haven't even discovered who Treva was. I turned around and tried to go back to the school for the bachelor's part of it. Stayed on campus, and that's when the abusive relationships were welcomed into my life, and I barely made it through college, and almost lost my clinicals and everything. Like a lot of what women go through, as far as domestic violence, almost losing everything. Same thing for me. It was just with a female, and I just kept going. I was coping, working, coping. I had two abusers that turned into stalkers. And so I fled to campus, and I stayed on campus.
Are we in the 4-year school now, or are we still in
Yeah.
the year? Okay, so when you got to the 4-year university, at first you were still staying at home?
Yep.
Okay. And then your first abusive relationship was when you turned 18. So like almost immediately after graduating high school, you stepped into a relationship. How was the relationship in the beginning? Like how long did y'all know each other before y'all called it official? And then what was it before it got to an abusive point?
I don't think we spent time like truly like dating or getting to know each other. How I met this person, one of my part-time jobs while, in college, they used to come into my job. I worked at a Family Dollar, and they lived in like the projects across from the Family Dollar. And so they would come in, and I don't pay anybody much attention. I'm still kind of very serious about going from A to B, B to C. I don't really care to be in people's business. But she used to come in there, and I ring her up, and people flirt, blah blah. I'm just like, um, because in my mind, I'm so grown. I'm in college. I'm finna be a grown woman. You can't be able to tell me nothing. Hadn't realized that I haven't even slowed down. We exchanged numbers one day, and we just started hanging out, having fun, had some commonalities like sports and interests and things like that. And I can't even give you a time frame. It happened fast. It started off aggressive verbally, or the attitudes and hanging up, and I'm just like, okay, I'm too busy to be chasing that. So, and then it turned into the reverse psychology. Oh, you're not gonna call me back. You're not gonna this. You're not gonna. I'm like, you know what? And so then, you know, I'm smart enough to say, hey, this person bring me too many tears, too many bad days. Change our phone number. So it wasn't even a long, long time. Um, and I didn't think of it as stalking and harassing. So this person knows where I work at. They know what time I get off. They know what bus I get on to go to school. And they know what time I gotta be in and out of school. So I'm working two jobs. I'm in college. I won't answer my cell phone. So you start calling my store phone. Not only that, you start losing respect for my manager, my supervisor. Nothing can stop you. All right, well, I'm a figure it out. Well, you start taking the bus to my house, throwing rocks at my window, or ringing my doorbell. And when I'm at mom's house, ringing my doorbell and saying, acting like you're invited.
Let me pause you for a second. So, well, on the confidence podcast, we strive to be respectful.
Yeah.
And the Bible tells us, bless those who persecute you, bless don't curse. So anytime that I'm talking about the person who is abusive, I just call them homeboy or homegirl. I don't
Homeboy,
you know,
homegirl.
I don't claim them as my abuser, my ex. I don't claim that because I think that our words have power, right? So
They do.
homegirl, I just wanted to give you that preference so you know
Nope.
from here on out, I'm
Homeboy,
just gonna be saying homegirl. So was homegirl like what was y'all's age? Were y'all the same age? Was she older? What was that dynamic?
2 years apart.
2 years. She was older.
Yeah. So she was 2 years older.
Okay. Okay. So then homegirl showing up, she 2 years older, showing up to your mom's house, acting like she was going, like she was just invited to be there. Mom lets her in.
And people, they know if you're the type of person, I don't tell everybody my business. I don't want my parents in my business. They take advantage of those things. A homegirl will pop up, and the doorbell will ring if I'm visiting mom. Hey, homegirl outside. All right, so I got to play this off. Here I go, trying to make sure I de-escalate, step outside or in the hallway of the apartment complex, and it just because it got to a point that if I didn't, it was going to get worse. Well, I'm trying to protect mama and mama home residency because mama on fixed income and low income housing, so we can't afford to lose nothing. The more I tried to pull away without making a scene, it turned into a scene.
Oh, that's
Homegirl came up to my job one day and just told me up because I was afraid I was gonna get kicked out of college. Um, I couldn't afford to have no batteries, no domestic violence. You can't do my job, you can't have none of that back then, you know. You're not even gonna get into the nursing program. Well, homegirl was like, I'm gonna take full-fledged advantage of all this. Lost my jobs. Um, Tried to keep my mom out of it. Mom got involved. The disrespect was so real. And I said, this person don't have a care in the world.
pause for a second. So you were doing your best. You were doing your best to manage and de-escalate the situation. And if anybody doesn't understand, when you're dealing with someone who's manipulative, someone who is basically a parasite and they've found a host, because that's what I've learned, that's what really happens when you have an empath like you or most people who end up being abused, you're the host. And so they're trying to find your weaknesses and take advantage of that. So you're trying to de-escalate the situation. And as Treva said, it's only going to make things worse because it's like they almost don't care about nothing or nobody. But she got to a point where when you say mom got involved, like what does that look like at this point?
People don't have a cell phone. Well, where your cell phone at? Homegirl got it. Why homegirl got it? We got into it. What happened to your eye? Homegirl hit me. So what's really been going on? Because last week, Wednesday, I was calling you and this and that, and I ain't hear from you for 2 days. Homegirl froze me to death, and I was outside in a coma. Mama don't play them cakes, honey. She like, no, I'm going for my baby. And I'm like, Mom, this is not saying my mom have to be scared, but this is not safe. I don't know what's going on up here, but this is not even cool. And I don't want you worried about me. Because I already know I call her my little Rican. My mom is Puerto Rican and black. My mom will cut up when she need to. And so I'm like, no, mom, I got this. She almost lost her daughter. Well, get a restraining order. I already did that. She done violated it. The homegirl done violated it. Don't care. Tell the police they don't care. It's just a piece of paper. And you got the police that's like, well, you're going to keep going back. No, I'm not. I ain't been going back. They keep following me. Homegirl is really following me at this point. So I lost my jobs. I still try to push through school. Well, I'm going to meet you in the school building upstairs on the escalator. And I'm not saying that all women are like this. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is both genders have the capabilities of being this way. If I knew then what I know now, I wouldn't have gave 2 cares about going to the police station down the street. I was so worried about somebody else's mental health and what's wrong with them or why that I forgot about myself.
That's a good statement right there. That's a really good point, because what I'm learning is a common denominator across a lot of people who have been in abusive relationships. And people don't understand, who haven't been in abusive relationships, that because you are such this loving person, even though the person a lot of times people know that they're being done wrong. They know that they're being mistreated. They know that they're being abused. But because you have this certain heart, even though you're putting up with that and dealing with that, you still don't want to feel like you're the reason for someone else's downfall, or you're the reason that someone else's life got off track.
Yeah, especially if you see that their life is in shackles already. And then if you make the best decision for you, it's actually the worst and the best decision for them. It's like, well, I don't want to add fuel to the fire. Well, and so it takes the view off of you. It stops you from checking on you. It stops you from saying, well, I'm hurt the most or whatever. All you think of and all we think of as women, whether you black, white, green, or purple, all we think about is unconsciously protecting the next person or stopping them from going to jail or from our families, defending us or retaliating. We so worried about not making it worse while we up here dying internally, mentally, blood pressure, a suicide attempt, because we want to know what's going on up here. That we should have figured out what was going on up there in the first 60 days. And you better hope you got past the 10th day, because I'm checking all the boxes now. But it took me 8 years of therapy. It took me to say, hey, do I want to keep running? It doesn't matter if somebody is heterosexual or homosexual. Do you want to keep going down the same exact path? It looked different, but you end up at the same endpoint. And the only reason why it looked different is because you talk, they prying. So of course they're gonna say, we got the same interests. I like to do this too. You are the table and I ain't got nothing to bring to it, but I'm gonna act like I do. So I'm gonna lie and I'm gonna lie and I'm gonna lie until you start questioning my lies, and then I can't lie no more. And then I'm gonna get angry. Or when you say no, why this don't add up? Now I want to fight.
I'm doing my best to hold it in. I'm doing my best to hold it in.
I had to ask myself, the household that I came up in was abusive. Unfortunately, my brothers were abusive to me too. We healed, that's the past, but all the abuse I endured, which is what kind of created me into an empath, because I know these things ain't right. I know this ain't what love is. I know this ain't what we should be doing, because mama and daddy taught us not to do these things. And you don't do to people what you don't want done to you. But now I have to practice it, because not everybody is going to practice it, which is how us empaths get into some unhealthy situationships. Now, people might not like my boundaries now at 36, but ask me if I care.
And don't.
I don't.
And don't.
You got self-respect for yourself. You're healed, or where you need to be. You're going to meet me where I'm at, respect my boundaries, and those layers will fall when it's time. But my whole life was traumatic. I'll be very honest. I used to question my higher power, but I'm like, you know what? You was born with a voice. You've been talking for a reason. You've been yelling for help. And so now you got to yell for everybody else and advocate, because they not by themselves. So I try to make my past trauma like probably my biggest blessing.
In this first relationship, you went to the police, you got the protective order. Did you ever press charges, or did you ever go to the police immediately after an incident or after you were attacked? Show them proof of physical evidence, because a lot of times if you don't have physical evidence, right, even when you have physical evidence, from what I'm understanding, a lot of times they still don't take it serious, because you just said, hey, we ain't gonna do nothing because you're gonna go right back.
So you just answered my question. You literally just asked the question and answered it. Yeah, so I have. And they said, well, we'll have to catch homegirl at your residence. I said, homegirl is like a Chucky doll. Homegirl will be looking at you over somebody else's fence, and you done missed the whole homegirl. And as soon as you leave, here come homegirl coming through the window, pulled the bars off the window and everything. Kicked the whole wooden platform through the door open and everything. This time I had a friend. And a friend was on their way, and realizing I'm not answering, a friend saw them from down the street, called the police. So that's how they got caught. They get probation for breaking the restraining order. That ain't do nothing. The police is like, well, you gonna keep going back. I'm like, if this person tell me this one more time, I almost want to fight the police, because I ain't went nowhere. I'm trying to hide. They done found me at school, got on a bus, got off a bus. I mean, doing all of it. And so the police straight told me, well, there's nothing we can do. You're going to keep going up. I'm like, you know what? Ain't no way in the world this got to be true. So then they on probation. Homegirl come up with a fake number. Now I done got a whole new phone number change. We don't have no mutual friends. At this point, I'm scared. In my whole life, I'm scared of everything. So only my brothers and my mom have my phone number. Phone ringing. I'm like, and this before they really started like recycling phone numbers. I'm like, hello. At this time, my mom is the only one. My mom was old fashioned, so her cell phone used to be on private all the time. So I'm answering the phone, make sure they mom right. No, it's homegirl. I said, this number is 3 days old and we don't know nobody. I'm scared to even go outside at this point. So you thought you was getting away? I thought it was a movie. The only thing I had was the text messages coming from there. And then I found out how to get the PO information and I had to get it traced to the PO. So then the PO is how they eventually got caught and then had to do some time.
Okay. How long was the relationship before you tried to escape? And how long had the
It was
stalking and
early.
harassing?
I had tried probably like the fifth month. So it wasn't even that long. And in my mind, we're done. Like I'm running, I'm still trying to pursue my dreams. I probably get 24 hours of fresh air before it, and I'm just like, okay, or a few days. When you think you're free, here they come. I'm paranoid at this time. Like, are you kidding me? How you end up on the same bus as I am? I take a different route. How you end up on that bus? How are we on the same buses? Let me call the bus share. I mean, it was like a movie. It was like a movie. And yeah, like I was like, I can't. I can't. Um at the time, my oldest brother was in prison. And he had been hearing little stuff from mom, but waiting for me to break and make sure I'm okay. I'm like, dude, how I get somebody PO information? Cause I done been up there with busted lips and he ain't said nothing. Just trying to stay out of my business because I'm trying to push. Like all of us do. We trying to just get through it. We gonna be okay. That's how I ended up finding the PO information. I was able to print the records. Um Homegirl tried to break and throw the phone away, but I already had my records printed. And that's when I really was like, you know what? I didn't understand mental illnesses at that time. Um, and then I started, I've worked in psychiatry for 4 years on the units. And where I am now, my mental health is everything to me. It's everything to me.
How long was she stalking you?
For like 6 months. After I was done, got number change, all that. But it was so crazy. It was like Chucky or Michael Myers. You turn around, they ain't there. You turn forward, they right behind you. It was bad. And I was almost I was in disbelief and embarrassed because you wouldn't think nothing like that happened in homosexual relationships. I mean, and 15 years ago at that. You barely scared to come out or nobody see y'all together. And so after a while, unfortunately, when homegirl got out of jail, she lost her mom. And that's when I started to be mean. Like when I say be mean, I'm talking about we not even checking up on nobody. We gonna pray and keep them over there.
How long was she in jail?
2 years.
Okay, so we're gonna take a break. We gotta unpack it. We gotta
It's too much.
it's a lot. It's a lot. I want to make sure nobody missed this whole situation. In order for her to even have gotten put in jail, you had to do your own detective work. You had to advocate for yourself. You followed the protocol. You went to the authorities, and people say, why don't you just call the police? There have been so many times that I've heard from the mouths of y'all that you did that. They show up and they either say, oh, it's just a situation, like if it's a married couple, oh, it's just a situation, y'all just take a break, tell him to stay in the room, or you go. And they're I don't think that there's enough training to handle this on the serious nature that it is. Like even the movie Enough with Jennifer Lopez.
That
And the police officer is like, oh, well, you were one of the lucky ones. No one should have to go through all of that to be protected when your job is to serve and protect.
It's unfortunate because you have some women, they may have a kid by somebody, a new baby, they may be going through postpartum, whatever their situation or circumstance is, and they go back. I get it. But you can't say that everybody was like that. I had been running. I had been done, but I still had to run and run and run. And I couldn't run home because mama was on rent assistance. I had to think about mama and mama losing her house. You get what I'm saying? And so I'm like, where I'm gonna run to? Well, if you go back to school, you can stay on campus. That's how I got away before homegirl got released. And then I heard it through the grapevine because now I'm low key. Like now, I don't care if we know somebody, see somebody, I'm mute. I don't want to talk, none of that. Because at this point, I don't remember you. I'm not getting off at the corner of my college campus. I'm finna go around the mall. We finna separate. I don't want no parts of it. I've lost so much and had to do so much to get my sanity back. I'm cool over here.
To get your sanity back because, oh my God, y'all, you really feel like
the wrong person will have you going crazy about your own self. When you start to say, what's wrong? Like, what I do is the start of going crazy. You ain't did nothing but you got the wrong pointer finger. What you ain't did is worked on you. Put this same amount of years times month headache questions into you. And of course, I come from a family. You don't let no therapist in your business. You don't let them folks in your business. You don't. Well, guess what? I've been a rebel all my life, and the only thing I ain't did was with the therapy. So I'm on the way. I'm on the way. I got to go. And of course, my family frowned upon it, because the secrets was going to come out. The roots were going to come out. Where's all this stemming from? What was your childhood like? Therapy was the best thing I ever did and I'm not saying that just to encourage somebody. To have to sit there and unfold my life over 8 years to this day was the best thing I have ever done for myself.
So we got on campus. Homegirl went to jail. You still on campus. How long did you have a breather before you found yourself back in that cycle again?
About a year and a half.
And you said you felt like in that moment, you had felt like you had healed. You were more aware and alert. And you were like, I'm not doing that again. I know what to look for. So how did you get tripped up? Like what happened?
I want to say I don't know because I don't want to sound judgmental. I don't know exactly at that time what drew me to them. Other than the typical at that age, somebody attractive or they say the right thing in the first few days or whatever. But if I'm speaking from now and being honest and transparent, when you heal and you think you healed through something, especially in your early 20s, you're like, okay, I healed, I'm better, I'm gonna set the bar higher. Because we deserve so much, right? We wrong, we want this life, and so my bar is set higher. I deserve better. I'm grown. I'm in college. I got blah, 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 blah. I'm turning this into another degree. Woo, 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 woo. So you got to come with most of this, right? That went from, well, it's okay, unintentionally settling. Because you could change your mindset, but if your friends or the people you're connected to are on a different level too, you can easily be coerced into, you ain't got to be perfect. Everybody ain't gonna be like you. Everything, just all these, why my standards can't be the way they are, and nobody teaches us how to navigate those things either. And so then it's all the good talk, and then probably like a week or so, I'm like, this person ain't say that. I thought they said. Now my memory is sharp, okay, sharper than a pointed pencil. I remember everything, and that's probably a good and a bad thing. So I'm like, I know this person didn't say, okay, that don't, maybe I'm tripping. So then I'm like, you know what? Let me speak up. But I started to get this feeling like, that might start an argument. Well, I don't want no argument. I don't want homegirl think I'm questioning her, don't trust her. No, that's what happens. So then you like somebody, y'all hanging out, y'all had one little movie date, it was nice, and then they start to reveal that ain't true. And they make you feel bad. Well, you know what? You can work on that. We could do that together. I can help you with that. I know some resources that and I said, wait a minute, this person done unchecked about 5 boxes and you okay with it? You just devalue yourself. You just degraded yourself. You did all that work to come right on back right here. Well, you got a type. You like toxicity, Treva. This all you know. This all you know. It feel good. Now, in the moment, we don't know exactly what that feeling is or what that common denominator is. It feel different, but it feel the same. And all they need is a few little minutes, a few conversations, making you feel good, and they can only pretend for so long. When I tell you therapy has been the best thing, most of my life was traumatic. And I don't want anybody to think that healing is easy. Therapy is not easy. Therapy will make and break you, okay? It will make and break you. But if you're not married, if you ain't got no kids, get out and stay out. Get out. A kid is the only thing that could really, like, you know what I'm saying? The government or the state could say, y'all have to, balance this child or parenting. At that point, you just pray that they're deadbeat. Like, seriously, like, I'm being honest. I don't have kids, so I can't tell nobody what not to do. But if you're not married to them and you have a safe place, forget being scared and feared. Go to that safe place and don't look back. Some people don't make it out of abusive relationships. Where I'm from, and I'm being honest, I love my city. I love my city. Where I'm from, most people don't make it out. Most of them turn to prostitution, pimped out. Most of them lose their kids. If you can get out, get out. Tell your family. If y'all have some way of bonding, protecting each other, tell somebody. I didn't know my mom was worried about me the way she was. I thought I was hiding it. A lot of people don't make it out. Even with the female abusers, stabbing baby daddies, you get what I'm saying? Like, people losing their parents to their newborns and everything because of what wasn't unlearned or what wasn't learned.
A lot of it has to do with conversations.
Yep.
People who are in abusive relationship, communication is the lock and it's the key. It's either going to be chain or it's going to chain you up or it's going to set you free. It's however you go, whatever side you on. But even for the people who are the ones that are being abused, like Treva said, you have to, it's embarrassing. It's shameful. But until the fear of being judged from your shameful, embarrassing decisions is less than the fear of losing your life to someone who doesn't love you, you're not going to go anywhere. When you're on the other side, once you've made it to the other side, you can see the burden that you were carrying. You shouldn't have been carrying it. Open your mouth. Find somebody that can help you navigate. There's resources. There's somebody that can help you navigate your way out. It may take longer than you want it to, but at least you know that somebody cares and somebody is there to support you. But you just don't know that if you're trying to figure it all out by yourself. You can't get out by yourself. I don't know, depending on how far you in this thing, you're going to need help getting out. Because if you didn't need help getting out, you would have got out already.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be willing. You just have to be willing to communicate. You have to be willing to say, you know what? I'm going to put my shame aside. I'm going to put my guilt aside. I'm going to put all of those things that you think people are going to judge you for. You got to lay them down.
Yeah. I mean, they're not hiding the fact that they're beating us. They're not. We can't hide these black eyes, busted lips. Ain't that much Maybelline and makeup in the world? Like, so why keep hiding them? What are we doing by hiding them? We're giving them opportunity to find new prey, a new victim. Because trust me, we're not the only one, or you're not the only one, or we weren't the only one. Wherever you're at, you're not the only one. This is what they do.
You're not their first. It has been done before. You're just their current. That's just what it is. They move from host to host until the host is gone or the life is gone. And until then, they're just gonna keep feeding and preying off of you. So we're in college. You're in college. You moved on. You noticing some red flags and signs. How long were you in this second homegirl? How long were you in that situation?
That didn't even make it a year, but around month 3 or 4 is when I started speaking up. Because I tried my best not to project my past on to it. I'm like, let me make sure I got some facts. Sometimes we feel like we gotta see stuff when we already been seeing it. But it went from, when you start spending the night or they start spending the night, a night here and there, it went from there to too long. I'm like, excuse you. You want to go home? Because for one, I don't even want you. Why you ain't go to work today? My supervisor cut my hours, or my supervisor gave me off. Okay, well, I'm finna go. You want to go? You need to go. Find a reason to stay at our house until we get off. Okay, now it's 2 days in a row. Then, it just kept going. I mean, everything under the sun that most women go through. And then, the cheating came in. When I started asking questions, I was complaining. When I started asking questions, I was insecure. Well, I'm trying to finish my degree. You ain't got nothing going on. You ain't been to work. What happened to your job? Oh, I'm gonna have to file unemployment. Oh no, you wanna go home? You need to go home. Well, kind of find out they ain't really got nowhere to stay. Well, where you was at? Oh, couch hopping. Oh, well, even though it's a couch in there, ain't no couch over here. You got to go. That's when the abuse came. And I'm like, well, you know what? I'm too close to finishing this degree. I'm not even finna fight back because I know that at this point I'm a herder. I'm her old girl. I'm a herder. And I'm like, you can't afford to do that. You do that in the middle of college, that's it. That's it. You're not gonna get into the nursing program. You're not gonna finish. You just got no. All right. Well, I'm about to go. You ain't going nowhere. How come I'm not? Because I'm gonna take your keys. That's fine. I still got my book bag and stuff. I'm finna go. I'm getting on the bus. I'm gonna take all your stuff for clinicals. That's fine. I ain't gonna be late for clinical. I'll get a stethoscope at the clinic. I'm gonna get there. Well, I get the clinical. You need to go back home and get your stuff. I'm like, I know somebody got a stethoscope. I go back home. I didn't even make it back the same day. I'm like, so the back and forth texting, I need to come and get my stuff. Well, you ain't coming in here. So I ain't got no keys. I'm on the bus and I ain't got my car.
And she's talking about your place of residence.
Because I done let somebody spend the night and get comfortable. You did some job apps today. You ain't got no interviews or temp service, something. Who you talking to like that? The cheer that's trying to scoot to the table. And it just kept going and going. It got to the point, let me tell you, whoever watching will be watching. When somebody is so far gone mentally, they don't care about your life. Homegirl set my car on fire right in front of my eyes. Flames. When people are that type of broken or that type of far gone mentally, people will always hide it until you trigger them. Make somebody live in their reality, that's their biggest trigger. They got to live up to every lie they told, and they can't. Embarrass somebody, that's their biggest trigger. Tell their truth. You better not tell nobody they ain't got no job, because they supposed to be the best girlfriend or the boyfriend. Because they done sold you some dreams with no coins. My mom, I got abused in front of her one time. Like, I'm telling you, I'm like, Mom, don't. Like, I, I was embarrassed. I wouldn't even let my mom protect me. Wouldn't even let my mom protect me. I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. Knocked my teeth right out my mouth. Playing that, oh, Treva there. How you know I came to visit my mom this weekend? How you know I ain't at my place? I ain't heard from you. I done got good. I'm going to spend time with mama. We gonna have a good day. We're not gonna talk about nothing. This is about mama, right? I ain't got no bruises on me. Doorbell ring. Treva there. My mom was like, I thought you wasn't talking to old girl. I'm not. And now one thing we know, you don't lie to your mama. And our mamas know no matter what our parents do to us, our parents, especially the one we live with, they know what's better than anybody in the world. I'm like, I'm not. Well, old girl at the door. Well, tell her I ain't coming out because I'm finna call the police. Arguing with my mom. We're in our 20s. Arguing with my mom. Treva, come and get this. Come to the door because I'm about to blow up. All right. So the door is locked. It's a metal door with the glass and the metal bars. So the door is locked. Playing with the doorknob. And I'm like, yanked the doorknob so hard, broke the locked doorknob, punched me dead in my face. And I'm still trying to defend her, homegirl. No, ma, it's okay. Mouth bleeding.
Let's pause for a minute. Y'all can breathe. Take a deep breath. We know where we at. Do you think that you were disguising, defending her for the sake of, or the fear of what she might do if your mom actually stepped in? Or do you think you were authentically in a space where you really were defending homegirl?
I was afraid of what either of them would do to each other. And when because if you would hit me, I know you're gonna try to mess my mom up. And at that time, my mom was kind of sick. My mom was actually getting ready for a hip replacement or something. So I was like protecting them both. But I also know my mom ain't nothing to play with. And she had a metal bat in her hand. My mom, where we from, we keep a metal bat behind the doors. And this was before concealed carriers became a thing. So metal bat that was it. That was it for somebody. And my mom had never been to jail. My mom had never been in trouble. All the stuff my mom done. I didn't know. But I also didn't want because I know what this person has done to me at the very worst, and that wasn't it.
Hold on. So getting punched in the face wasn't the worst?
Uh,
Getting your teeth knocked out your face was not the worst that homegirl had done to you up until this point?
so I was scared for both of them because I know my mom was going to kill. She was trying to get through the rest of that door to kill. And I was embarrassed that I was now don't this is not this scary person at that time was not Treva. Treva coming up, Treva was fighting any and everything moving. The broken child in her was that's all she knew. So this was like my mom is like, I don't know who my child is, what she going through, and why she going through it. But it's gonna stop right now. And so I knew that my mom, when she had that bat, she was gonna swing to kill. And I also didn't want old girl hurting my mom. I was going to kill. It was me and mama against the world until I started hiding stuff from mama.
So you just got knocked in the face. The doorknob is broken. Door busted open, mouth busted open. Mama got the bat. How does the situation de-escalate?
If I'm being honest, I can't even tell you. I remember at some point I called the police, but I I I truly cannot remember how it de-escalated. I think at that point I was so worried because, like I said, mom was making it work on rent assistance. You can't have these type of things going on, you know. So now I'm like, mom going to get put out. Mom going, you know what I'm saying? And I don't even remember how it de-escalated.
Did you call the police while she was still there, or has she left and then you called the police to file a report?
I believe she left because she was another one who popped up, played with the police, will be on the phone like, yeah, I see the police pulling up. Like, where the heck is this person at? I want to say she may have left because all I can remember was it wasn't even no full fight. That was it. The door was off, the whole hinges, all the whole metal door was off. So we got the wooden door, and I'm just at this point we're like, Mama is gonna be evicted. Mama gonna have to go. Now what am I gonna do? No actual residence. No place of employment.
They couldn't trace the cell phone?
Prepaid.
So you in another situation where you have pressed charges and now you just sitting here waiting in fear because you don't know who gonna jump first, the police or homegirl.
Yep. And I had to do a restraining order on that one. And even the judge said some crazy stuff to me. Female judge. You sure do got a type. I could have called her everything but the child of God. I don't have a record. I just discovered what this person's record looked like. Don't talk to me like I'm choosing these people on purpose. Like the system is where I'm at. The system is jacked up. And like I said, this is no shade to the women who try to fix it or believe it's gonna work out, married, child in a situation, whatever. But so many go back that they have set the tone that we all go back. Some of us have lost our lives because, or almost lost our lives because they didn't even come. They took too long. It wasn't urgent. I'm from the hood of Milwaukee. If you on a certain side of town and they get a call, you're not even a priority. They used to it. And it's so unfortunate that we as people have lost our value or not even discovered it. We've we've grown up to be conditioned and we don't even know who we are, men and women. But most of us women, we got to stand up. We have voices. We have to use them. The first reason you are given to leave, leave. I don't know where any and everybody from, but you know it's always a state that seems like it's worse than others. New York, they don't care about you. Philly, they don't care about you. Boston, they don't care about y'all. If you in the South and racism is still as heavy in certain areas, you sure ain't cared for. I'm sorry, you're not cared for. And we gotta realize we have to think about these things. It's so important to say, hey, we could be friends, we can hang out. If somebody is like, I don't want to waste my time doing that, guess what? You continue working on you. Don't let nobody rush your journey. Because everything is going to be peaches and cream until you can't agree to disagree. We got to be careful. And the best way to be careful is to say no. Put those boundaries in place. What more do we have to be afraid of? If you in that mode of, I've been single too long and my person did all that time, you could be investing in therapy. Some of the most healed people that have come up out of this trauma are single. And it's truly by choice. They are at their biggest like moment of happiness and peace. And when you get to a point where you're healing, the smallest things that you never got to experience bring you the biggest joy. And you know, you just continue that journey and everything makes you happy. You're going to get to a point where you don't want to sacrifice that piece for anything. You don't even want nothing to look like you got an attitude. Like, I'm so serious. Some of my people in my life right now, they be like, dang, you mean? I ain't mean. I don't even want it. I'm not even arguing. I'm not mad. I'm cool. Because guess what? My whole life was spent being upset, angry, rage, exploding. So what may look like Treva shuts down now or she too quiet, my brothers always, they be like, that's my sister. Let me tell you, I ain't pay all this money for nothing. Okay. And I don't want to feel how I used to feel. I don't want it takes so much energy being angry. We're not going tit for tat. I don't even owe you the explanation. So you just walking out? I didn't walk in. I tiptoed and I slid right on out. I'm cool. It doesn't make you a punk. It doesn't make you giving up. You are a priority. You are your biggest investment. Can't nothing on this earth go with you but your soul and your spirit. Not even your flesh. Your flesh is gonna decay or get cremated. The only thing that can go is your spirit and your soul, depending on who your high power is and what you believe in. Everything else It's going to be right here doing what it's doing. When you run into somebody, even on a friendship level, some of us, we be like, we ready for some new homegirls, some new friends. And what do they value? What are their morals? What are they getting into? Are they in those toxic situationships? You don't even want to hear about nobody drama all day, every day. Want to know why? Because it's certain levels that you have healed through, and healing takes time. It takes so much time, and every time you get over a hurdle and nothing can trigger that no more, that's how you know you healed. You can't even touch that spot. I done seen you and I'm cool. And I'm speaking from transparency. I am on year number 8 of therapy. They don't want to be friends. Guess what? Y'all ain't got to talk. You ain't got to go on no date, get no free meal, play, none of that. Because every time you tap into that, you got to pick yourself up. Why I waste my time? That wasn't even worth it. Now I got to block them. Why did I get physical with this person? Now you didn't exchange energy, soul ties, whatever. Don't let nobody make you feel guilty for your healing. It don't matter the gender. Like it's hard out here. It's really hard. Um, it's only gonna get worse. And I'm being honest and transparent because of what's going on. It's gonna be a while before we see most of this stuff reverse or slow down. But it's gonna take all of us as a village speaking up for ourselves, encouraging the next person to speak up. Go get your cousin from her baby daddy house. She don't need to be over there anyways. If you got somebody that could help you in whatever way that look like, let them help you. You don't feel like going to drop the kid off, have his auntie go take him. Something. Stay away from, if you're married or got a kid, stay away from that person as much as you possible. Put some papers in place. This is for your kid only. Don't come crossing no lines. Depending on the age of the kid, they got their own phone. You call your kid phone. You call me for an emergency. Set those boundaries. I know a lot of people struggle when they have a kid and they don't want their kid to see anything. And then their kid, is somehow, some way, miraculously favoring that not so great parent or person in the relationship. I can't give advice to those people. You got to do what's best for the kid, but stop trying to make it so obsolete because you're still going to get stuck if you don't set the right boundaries. And there, whatever state you're in, there are laws to protect you. You need to learn your laws, learn your statutes. There are resources. And a kid does not mean you're going to be stuck. If you still got family support, have a family member drop them off. Use your resources, whatever that is for you. Utilize it. If people still love you and want to show up for you and you want to get out, let them help you get out.
Tell the people, sis. Tell the people.
I'm honest because if I'm honest because if it was left up to the devil, I wouldn't be here. I ain't supposed to be here. Where I'm from, we lose so many people to homicide for this reason. Next is suicide because they can't get out. They tired. They gave up.
Now, you mentioned earlier that you said, and you just brought it up again, that there was a time where you almost lost your life. Was that with this homegirl?
Yep.
So you got punched, you've been punched, press charges. They can't find her.
I don't fall back too. Fighting back made it worse.
Was this before the incident at your mom's house?
Nope, it was at my mom's house. I said, "This is it. This is it. Like this is it." And so that calmed down for about a few weeks because nobody could find her. So I'm at my mom's house again. I try not to follow the same pattern, make nothing consistent because I don't know who's watching me. So I go to mom's house midweek, and I'm in my old room. And I got bars on the window. Like that's how the house, was whatever. What? I said, no, I know I ain't tripping. We don't even live in the hood at this time, so I really ain't got no reason to be all panicky. The house phone start ringing. You ain't never known our house phone. So here we go playing again. One of the bars fell off the window. I don't even know how this happened. So I get up, I jump up. I'm on my mom, call the police. It's ridiculous. But mom said, I thought y'all was done. I promise you we are. So now my family, my mom don't even believe me because I've been trying to protect old girl. I've been trying to protect everybody for so long. Now it's like mom don't even want me to come and visit because she can't afford to lose another place. By the time the police decided they wanted to get there, I done already defended myself and got thrown out of a window.
Are y'all on the first floor?
Second.
Onto a balcony? Or did you?
I got thrown on top of a dumpster.
Do you remember what your mom called the police, right? Or did you end up calling the police?
So mama was calling the police. I'm trying to keep the window down because now two bars are off and all you have to do is raise the outside like screen thing and then put your arms through and pull the window up. Now I'm trying to keep it down. Well, now they trying to get the attention to the neighbor upstairs above us. So you ringing doorbells above us. How you get up to this second level? We ain't got no stairs back here. How you hanging on like a monkey? We ain't got no stairs back here.
Okay, wait.
Yeah.
No, you're on the second floor. You have bars on your window. There's no balcony outside your window.
So there's no balcony or none of those stairs that go like zigzag.
No fire escape stairs. But she has somehow climbed up the side of this building to the second floor, and while hanging on is unscrewing the bars and getting ready to raise the window.
Meaning you got somebody involved to help you. I can't make this up. When people lose it, they lose it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm panicking. I'm like, how long is it gonna be? They talking about it's not urgent. They done had these calls for us before. They'll get there when they can.
Was that off the first call you made that night, or did y'all make multiple calls that night or that day?
That was the first call. So we playing tug of war. Now homegirl done fell. Don't ask me how I got in the building. Rang somebody doorbell. Told them they was coming to visit.
So wait,
That,
you're saying she got in the building. So are y'all in a building that is like a private security type building? What do you mean?
yeah, so it's private security, but like homegirl rang somebody doorbell to let her in the building. Because they don't see her face. Homegirl said that she forgot her key. And that was it. And it was embarrassing. But my mom, that was the first time my mom had ever given me an ultimatum. And she wasn't wrong. But she was like, I'm not gonna watch you die. And it was embarrassing for a long, long time. And after it all got like settled and done, I don't know where that person vanished to. And for a long time, I didn't know when that person will pop up. And they will try. It could be a few years. This is when Yahoo what Messenger was the thing. Bing. I don't even use it no more. Hey, I'm just checking on you. No, you got me messed up. This is about 4 or 5 years later.
How old are you when you're with homegirl number 2 when this incident happens?
24.
And she gets in the building. She gets in y'all's house, y'all's apartment. She throws you out the window onto a dumpster. And you're like, does she just leave after that? And you just waiting on the police to get there to take you to the hospital?
Homegirl is in our house, pushing, shoving. I'm like, look, like, stop. Like, just stop. Like, I'm not. So because I wouldn't fight back, here come more hits, more punches, more hair pulling, choking. And at this point, I don't have a choice but to fight back. I can't breathe. Well, and some people are very, very, very evil. Nothing is ever going to suffice. Whether I fight back or I sit here, it's going to antagonize homegirl. So I'm being pulled by my hair. I'm being hit in the face. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just about to have to tear this up because I can't. Like, I can't breathe. I'm being choked. And I was on my laptop. I had my laptop in the bed. And this is when the laptops were big, right? Super big. So I'm being pulled, I'm being dragged. And somehow I still got my laptop in my hand. And I take my laptop and just come across her face with it. And when I came across her face with it, that's when she pushed me. And it was just, we were in a weird position. And I was in front of the window. So now you push me out this window, talking about I'll drop you out, this and all that. And I'm like, well, do what you got to do. And I fell on top of a trash bin, the green trash dumpsters. I don't know how long the wait was for the police them to come. I just remember that when they came, I was in the front in the grass. So I don't even remember if I blacked out then or anything. The next day, I had a right bracelet from the hospital. Nobody was there. I didn't have a phone or anything. And the nurses were talking to me. My mom called and checked on me. She didn't stay. She said I had hurt her more than anything. And she was grateful that I was alive. They told her I was, going to be okay. And she told me, she said, if this is how you want to live your life, you don't have to come around. My mom has never in her life given me an ultimatum in such way, ever. She's like, I'm not watching you go through this. You were taught to fight back. And I had to tell her, like, Ma, you understand my education is important. Like, I can't, get charges and stuff like that. Like, I was just scared. It was all about trying to move forward, but I was scared of what would block me in my future. Like, I didn't have kids, I wasn't married, but I was like married to school. I wanted to do better. I want to be better. And if you got domestic violence or any batteries, that was it. You couldn't be a part of the nursing program. After going through so much abuse, I don't know what clicked in me years later to say, I'm tired of being a punching bag. Like, I'm tired. Like, I know women talk about men do it all the time, but this is crazy. It's one thing to have, two females to have some jealousy or whatever, but this, it's not even, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. That's why, like, I'm not big on asking unnecessary questions or playing the whole 99 questions in the beginning, because most people will answer questions based on what they think you want to hear. We got to be careful of knowing when somebody's getting to know us or when they're prying on us. We got to be strong enough to say, this makes me uncomfortable. This conversation is not necessary. This doesn't add any value to either of us. Those conversations that we're scared to have. What are your morals? What are your values? What is your religious background? What is your relationship like with your family? Those are the questions we need to be more comfortable asking. I'm not saying that they're going to give you all the answers, but they will give you some idea of how this person is with their children, with their family. Not just, oh, he divorced, I don't want to deal with him. No, what is his relationship like with his child? What is his relationship like with his mom and his aunts? When you're talking to him, is he ever going to see his grandma? Is he looking out for his sister? If they're a CEO or they're an entrepreneur, how do they treat their employees? The real them shows up everywhere they go. They only faking when they with you. Do you know how hard it is for them to fake them few hours they with you? If it don't feel good, especially if you've been on a journey, if it don't feel good, don't do it. If you got a gut intuition, follow your gut. Don't even worry about if you gonna miss out on nothing. God, your higher power got you. Whoever you serve got you. Maybe it ain't time. Maybe you still got some more work to do. I'm on year number 5 being single. And let me tell you, I'll be like Tracy Ellis Ross, okay? If she been single all her life, I just want to be like her when I grow up, okay? Look how young she is. Look how she is living. And even if she is married, nobody will ever know. But do we see how she put herself first? All the time in everything she do. And she's able to show up her very best every time she do. That is how we should be living. And whoever we are with, dating, engaged to, or married, should be in support of that. No, you can't talk down on me. Yes, you must treat me with kindness. Yes, you got to be gentle to me. My brothers even tell you, like, oh my God, girl. Yes. I'm a daddy's girl and y'all raised me. And yes, you got to be gentle with me. No, I ain't pumping my gas. Like, we going all the way back, okay? I want everything I heal for.
Say that one more time for the people in the back.
What you mean you want to come kick in? I gotta take my own trash out. And no, you don't need my address for a first date, a second date. We can meet, greet, and eat. I'll meet you there. People think I'm mean, and I don't care. Like, it's about me. It sounds selfish. It's about me. What will happen organically. It won't be forced. It won't feel forced. It won't make you uncomfortable. And if anybody, a mature man, if he can't handle no, him and his mommy issues got to go. A mature woman. This for the men who run into the wrong type. If she can't handle a no or your boundaries or your standards or whatever nonsense she looking for, it's okay to let that go too. Finding therapy is tough. Finding a therapist that fits you, that works for you, is not easy. And when you start healing, whatever that joy look like, feel like, it can feel childish, whatever, let it be. You deserve it. I'm so serious. Whatever brings you joy, do it. Like, we only get one life, but we take so long to live it, it's not even funny. Some of us be so hurt, we still waiting, we still blaming our parents and all this. And then, like, some of us be having space, room, and time to do the work. We just found another excuse.
Doing the work to heal hurts.
Doing the work to heal. Sometimes I go back to my own self-published book and I be like, I made my own self cry. Like, sometimes when I get distracted, whether somebody trying to play in my face and I done got off track a few days, I have to remind myself, do this feel good? No. Well, how you gonna let them know it doesn't make you comfortable? We not sufficing nobody feeling. If you can't have those conversations with people, even on a friendship, kinship level, this makes me uncomfortable. Those are the signs right there. If they can't be accountable to something not minor but minute, as, hey, you hurt my feelings, or I don't like that. We already know they not being accountable in their own life. They ain't going to see their kid. They ain't spending no time. They ain't spending no money, and they got a bad motive. Like, seriously, we got to be. These are the things we have to look at nowadays, because we've let everything pass by trying not to project our past. But guess what? We done still messed our own selves up with that past attached to us.
You done said a lot, sis. You have said a lot. So I have one more question. We don't even got to get to homegirl number 3.
We ain't.
We just know that you here now, sharing your love, shining your light, and most importantly, becoming the version of yourself that attracts everything to you that you desire in life. So how would you define confidence, and what does that feel like now to you?
Confidence feels like just showing up for me. Every day. It's making sure that I get up a few hours early for work. I meditate or whatever makes me feel good before I walk out this door, and to make sure my mind is clear. I'm doing it. And whatever that is for you, that can be. So for me, it's getting up, you know, taking care of me. Is my mind clear? Whatever was on my mind last night, if it wasn't good, am I clear for today? Self dating, tapping into all of my crafts. My biggest thing right now is poetry. A person will feel defeated when it comes to poetry. No, I ain't got no time. And no, you can't come out. This is my safe place. I'm a poet, I'm growing. And right now I'm building my platform as a speaker. For so long, my voice was silenced because I wasn't supposed to talk. I wasn't supposed to heal. And so, yeah, like right now, I'm in a space where I'm doing just everything that I love to do, whether it's small or big. Um, and I'm tapping into all my talents, but it feels good. And it's carefree. Like, it's carefree. It's so carefree. Like, long as I feel good about it, I don't care what the outside world thinks. Every now and then I may worry about, or I may think to myself, because worrying is, every once in a while. And I had to check myself. You doing this for you, or you doing it for them? Oh, okay. But I go through that less and less and less. And that's where the improvement is coming in. For you, and that the work is working. But I spend so much time journaling and writing and writing, and reminding myself what makes Treva feel good. My only goal is to obtain the confidence, like maintain it. Not here and there intermittently. I need to show up confident, even when the world say you can't. Show up in rooms that you didn't think you were allowed in. It's being that rebel, but in my professional world. So, and it could be anything for anybody, but do it. Long as you're not crying and in that deep depression, and do it alone. It's less expensive. I'm just saying.
Hey, she just dropped the mic on that, y'all. It is less expensive. And let me tell you, confidence is freedom. And when you can be by yourself and love being by yourself and explore yourself to find out what you truly enjoy in life, and you're not sitting here trying to figure out how to transform to please other people, that's when you are free. That's when, if you are supposed to be in a relationship, that relationship that you want is going to come find you. But you got to be willing to heal from all of the trauma that you've experienced. And you have to understand that it's not your responsibility to carry the burdens of other people's trauma.
Yeah, we can't do that. Because then we trauma bonding.
And that ain't gonna get you nowhere but stuck. Back where you don't want to be. Treva.
What's up? I'm so excited. I really enjoyed tonight.
It has been an honor, sis. A privilege. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your story without shame, without fear, without guilt, without judgment, because you know we are here to educate, encourage, and empower other people. We are rising above insecurities, releasing the burdens of shame and guilt, and reviving our God-given power, purpose, and passion, the confidence way. Treva, your whole life is a blessing to this world. And we just look, we just have to be here and experience it. You hear me?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you for
No, thank you. Thank you. We need people like you. Like, we need people like you. And I appreciate you. If ain't nobody told you today, I appreciate you. Because honestly, we have to do this as individuals and then as a community.
That's what it's about. Well, y'all know what it is. This has been another amazing episode of the Confidence Way podcast, where we out here, we share light. And like I said before, light it up.
Yep.
You know the time, you know the place, and you know the folks. And guess what? We gone.